Good day, my name is Stephen Cole. I'm a member of the AWS Training and Certification team, and I'm here to present you some information about AWS products and services. This is designed for anyone new to Amazon Web Services with the idea that you can gain some proficiency and make some informed decisions about IT solutions based on your business requirements. Specifically, we are looking at the AWS platform, the AWS Management Console, AWS Foundational Services, Security, Database, and Management Tools. I would like to start with an introduction and history of AWS. Jeff Bezos incorporated the company in 1994, and Amazon.com was launched in 1995 as an online bookstore. Amazon.com Incorporated is an American multinational electronic commerce company with its headquarters in Seattle, Washington. It is the world's largest online retailer. Amazon has continued to grow and officially launched Amazon Web Services, AWS, in 2006. More came after, including Amazon Publishing, The Kindle, Amazon Game Studios, and Amazon Art. After over a decade of building and running the highly scalable web application Amazon.com, the company realized that it had developed a core competency in operating massive scale technology infrastructure and data centers and embarked on a much broader mission of serving a new customer segment, developers and businesses, with a platform of web services that they can use to build sophisticated, scalable applications. Today, AWS is the fastest growing multi-billion-dollar enterprise IT vendor in the world. Amazon Web Services is 10 plus years in the making. Amazon Web Services, also called AWS, is a collection of remote computing services called web services. These web services make up a cloud computing platform offered via the internet. We deliver web-based cloud services for storage, computing, networking, databases, and more. The AWS mission is to enable businesses and developers to use web services to build scalable, sophisticated applications. Web services is another name for what people now call the cloud. AWS is continually expanding its services to support virtually any cloud workload. It now has more than 50 services that include compute, storage, networking, database, analytics, application services, deployment management, and mobile. In 2015, AWS launched 722 new features and services for a total of 1,950 new features and services since its inception in 2006. Innovation is in our DNA, and our structure and approach to product development and delivery is fundamentally different from that of other IT vendors. We have decentralized, autonomous development teams that are working directly with customers. They are empowered to develop and launch based on what they learn from the interactions with their customers. Cloud computing provides a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. AWS owns and maintains the network-connected hardware required for these application services, while you provision and use what you need via a web application. We have identified 6 advantages and benefits of AWS cloud computing. The first is to trade capital expense for variable expense. Instead of investing heavily in data centers and servers before you know how you're going to use them, you pay only for what you consume or when you consume computing resources and pay only the amount you consume. You benefit also from the massive economies of scale. By using cloud computing, you can achieve a lower variable cost than you can get on your own. Because usage from hundreds of thousands of computers is aggregated into the cloud, providers such as Amazon Web Services can achieve higher economies of scale, which translates into lower pay-as-you-go prices. The third is to stop guessing capacity. You can eliminate guessing about your infrastructure capacity needs. When you make a capacity decision before deploying an application, you often end up either sitting on expensive idle resources or dealing with limited capacity. With cloud computing, these problems go away. You can access as much as or as little of what you need and scale up and down as required with only a few minutes' notice. You then can increase speed and agility. In a cloud computing environment, new IT resources are only ever a click away, which means you reduce the time it takes to make those resources available to your developers from weeks to just minutes. This results in a dramatic increase in agility for your organization because the cost and time it takes to experiment and develop is significantly lower. The fifth one is that you can stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers. Focus on projects that differentiate your business, not the infrastructure. Cloud computing lets you focus on your customers instead of doing the heavy lifting of racking, stacking, and powering servers. And the sixth advantage or benefit of AWS cloud computing is that you can go global in minutes. You easily can deploy your application in multiple regions around the world with just a few clicks. This means that you can provide a lower latency and better experience for your customers simply with minimal cost. This is published from the Gartner Group. It's its Gartner Magic Quadrant for the Cloud Infrastructure as a Service worldwide. In the top right-hand corner, Amazon Web Services is both a leader and a visionary in cloud services. Many of our services and terminology at AWS have analogs in the traditional IT space. Here is a side-by-side comparison of how AWS products and services relate to a traditional infrastructure. In security, the traditional infrastructure has firewalls, ACLs, and administrators that take care of them. In AWS, we have security groups, network ACLs, and AWS IAM. For networking, in the traditional space, we have routers, network pipelines, and switches. AWS, ELB, or Elastic Load Balancing, and the VPC, or Virtual Private Cloud. In the traditional infrastructure, we have on-premises servers, maybe in a data center or maybe in a closet in a building. AWS uses AMIs and Amazon EC2 instances. Finally, looking at storage and database, direct attached storage, storage area networks, network attached storage. AWS, its versions of this involve Elastic Block Storage, EFS, S3, and Amazon RDS. AWS Cloud Computing provides a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. AWS owns and maintains the network-connected hardware required for these application services, while you provision and use what you need. AWS Foundation services are categorized as shown here: compute, network, storage, security and identity, and applications. AWS offers a rich set of platform services that enable you to process a massive number of events from different sources, effectively work with databases, and more. These services include databases, analytics, app services, management tools, developer tools, mobile services, and the Internet of Things. AWS regions are geographic locations that contain multiple availability zones. Availability zones, or AZs, consist of data centers clustered in a single region. Each availability zone is engineered to be isolated from failures in other availability zones. AWS is steadily expanding its global infrastructure to help customers achieve lower latency and higher throughput, and to ensure that your data resides only in the region you specify. As you and customers grow their businesses, AWS will continue to provide infrastructure that meets your global requirements. As of October 2016, there are 14 geographic regions with 35 availability zones. The AWS GovCloud region is an isolated region designed to allow U.S. government agencies and customers to move sensitive workloads into the cloud by addressing their specific regulatory and compliance requirements. AWS products and services are available by region, so you may not see all regions available for a given service. You can run applications and workloads from a region to reduce latency to end users while avoiding the upfront expenses, long-term commitments, and scaling challenges associated with maintaining and operating a global infrastructure. Each region is a separate geographic area that has multiple locations isolated from each other, known as availability zones. Each availability zone is isolated, but the availability zones in a region are connected through low latency links. Where natural disasters or fault lines are a consideration, AWS isolates its availability zones so that they are not easily affected at the same time. For examples where earthquakes are a problem, AWS would not build two availability zones on the same fault line. When you launch an instance, you can select an availability zone or let AWS choose one for you. If you distribute your instances across multiple availability zones, you can design your application so that if an instance fails, an instance in another availability zone can handle requests. AWS highly recommends that you provision your compute resources across multiple availability zones. If you have multiple instances, you can run them across more than one availability zone and get added redundancy. If a single availability zone has a problem, all assets in your second availability zone are unaffected. AWS's global infrastructure provides edge locations that help lower latency and improve the performance for end users.